So one of the biggest mistakes people make in business as mission happens long before they launch the business, and most of the time they have no idea that they're doing it. What if the best business as mission opportunity is not something you're passionate about, like coffee, but is actually tied to your gifts and the needs of the people you're trying to serve? And why do some business as mission leaders accelerate their impact and others just struggle mightily for years on end? I'll tell you why. So by the end of this video, you're gonna have a clear framework for how to understand how God has wired you, how to avoid costly mistakes, and accelerate your leadership capacity with training from people that have actually been there and done it before you. So what we mean by a business as mission company is a business that is profitably building services and products that will bless a community across 4 bottom lines: economic, social, environmental, and spiritual. So to build a business as mission company, there are different roles to play. Not everybody is an entrepreneur. God has wired each of us differently. And in the next video, I'm gonna unpack more of that, but stay with me right here because I wanna focus on some key things a lot of people overlook when it comes to training for business as mission. So if you're searching for training about how to get ready to help or run a business as mission company, you need to pause and think for a second. What are the roles that God has gifted me, and what do I need to be trained in anyway, right? A lot of organizations will say, oh, you can just be an entrepreneur and maybe even use ChatGPT and come up with a business plan. Please don't do that. That's not training, right? That's being lazy. So let's talk instead about some ways to approach this. And I'm gonna begin by looking at a scripture here that's gonna challenge some of your assumptions about what you need to build. So look at the book of Luke chapter 14. Which of you wanting to build a tower doesn't first sit down and calculate the cost to see if he has enough to complete it, right? This is basic business 101. Like I need to look and see how much is this thing gonna cost to build a business, and even do I have the right skills and raw materials to build this project? Keep going with me in 29. He says, otherwise, after he has laid the foundation, or maybe has a good intention to wanna do a business as mission, but he cannot finish it, maybe because he wasn't trained, then all the onlookers will begin to ridicule him, saying, this man started to build and wasn't able to finish. Please don't be like the person that sets out to build something and you didn't thoroughly look at what it was gonna take to build it and to finish it. And one of the best ways, if you're looking for training, is find people that have already gone in front of you. Proverbs 13:20 says, walk with the wise and you will be wise. But if you don't walk with the wise and you just kind of do it by yourself or with, ChatGPT or something, you're gonna be like a companion of fools who suffers harm at the end of Proverbs 13:20. So let me show you some ways to think about getting trained. You might have people come to you or organizations and say, oh, we have some training for you about business. And you ask them, oh, well, what is it? How long is it? And they're like, oh, well, it's this 6 video series and we're gonna train you everything you need to know about business. Stop right there. There's no way that you're gonna learn, unless those videos are each 6 hours, you're not gonna learn what you need to learn about business in 6 short videos. So you should pause very quickly when someone says, this is our training for you. Instead, I would highly encourage you to look inwardly at yourself and say, what training do I have today? What am I bringing to the table? Do I have a business degree? Have I already run a business or led in some kind of managerial function where I had to operate a business today? And start with yourself. How has God gifted you? If you are hearing this video and you're like, hey, I'm gonna be running this business and I live in a frontier market, then cool, you don't need to learn that much about the language or the culture because you speak it. But you might not know how the business culture works in your city. Or if you're an expat coming from the outside, you might be good in one industry from maybe where you're from, but you have no idea that a sales deal closes over 100 cups of tea with somebody, not a contract. Right? Like there's things that you need to learn and get trained on, and you're not gonna learn them in quick little pithy videos that teach you the basics of business. 101 is not gonna cut it. So let me take you to the second point after you look at yourself and say, what do I need in this process? The second thing you're gonna need is context. I just started to allude to it, but if you are looking at a sector or a business, you might already know a little bit about an adjacent industry. Like let's say you're an engineer and you kind of know how some of maybe the programming or the software works. You might know a little bit, but you really got to get dialed into how does this industry look in the context where you want to work? Because it's probably going to be different. Or you might say, hey, I'm in this other market and I've already ran this one business, back in my home country where I'm from, and I'm now learning how to run it in a new market. Be careful how quickly you misappropriate experience from one market and one type of business to a totally different set of customers. This happens all the time with communication and employees, is you have one way of talking with employees where you're from, and sometimes where you're going, people don't communicate that way. They don't know how to say no. They say yes and they smile, but really inside they're just trying to honor you, not give you the truth and the answer of there's no way this is going to happen, but I can't dishonor you because you're my boss. So you have to get smart about context and how what you might have learned today. You might be an excellent leader. I'm thinking of a 27-year-old high-performing, high-caliber guy who was excellent in his work. And when he went to this Central Asian context, he was thrown back on his heels because he had no idea how to work with people in this region of the world and meet them where they were and how they needed to show up at work. So the second point is context. Who's teaching you about the context for which you'll operate the business? And the third part of looking for a training is wisdom. Who in that training has already run and scaled businesses in these markets? Who are the people that have gone out there and they have the scars and they've got the stories of I've lost thousands of dollars, or I totally taken in because maybe I was a foreigner in this market, or maybe you're a local in your own market, but you didn't know that there was this kind of secret or underground way that deals get done that you had to learn about, or maybe you had to push back on those things. There's so much wisdom you can learn by walking with people that have gone before you. So when you're looking at training options, it's really important to ask, who's doing the training? How much experience have they had? What can they teach me from their success and their failure? That's where you're going to get the best front row seat to how to operate, how to get trained yourself. And ultimately, you want to spend some time with those people and learn on the ground, working shoulder to shoulder with those people, because they're probably going to be your fastest path to get trained when you go out there to work with them. So if you typed in this, what is business's mission training question, and you're trying to look for different programs, there's not that many programs that I would recommend. And obviously I am heavily biased. I realize it. I have Frontier Operators on my shirt here. We started Frontier Operators for the purpose of training at a level that was actually going to help from the people that have been out there and have been successful. And so there's not that many programs, but Frontier Operators is one of the programs that you can look at. But when you're looking at training programs, it's important to think about how long is it? What's my time investment? Proverbs talks about do everything you can to get wisdom. So if it costs money, invest the money. If it costs time, invest the time. Do not shortcut training and think that a short little series is all you need, because guys, I'm telling you from experience, that is a surefire path to go waste tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and maybe even malign the name of Christ when really you want to go and show what his kingdom is like and be a true blessing. So get trained the right way and think about all the options, not just what they have at first pass, but click 2 and 3 clicks deeper. I know you can do it as you're looking into your options. Now, the first step to looking at training, even before you start and sign up or research, is what kind of role do you think you're going to play? Because that will tell you what kind of training you need. Right? If you're not going to be leading a company from the front, you might need a very different set of training. So in this next video right here, you can look at the 3 key roles that every business's mission needs to succeed, and just discover how has God wired you for the training that you need to fulfill that mission. So we'll see you there on the next video.